welcome along to this tranche of content which we are producing in association with our friends and partners at Lendlord. We're calling it Landlord Digital Lives, and we're going to be speaking to landlords who have adopted digital technology to find out how it has improved their landlord life. Now, at Property Tribes, we've been promoting a digital first approach since the forum was first started way back in 2009. So we are big advocates of landlords adopting tech and digital tools to help make their lives easier and more efficient, and very often to save money. So for this instalment, I'm delighted to be joined by a fellow lady landlord. It's Pauline Hudson. So welcome to Property Tribes TV, Pauline. Be very interesting to start off just to hear about your personal landlord journey, how long you've been a landlord, and kind of a brief overview of your portfolio.
Okay, I've been a landlord probably about 16, 17 years. I started being a landlord when I was in a job. I thought it might be a good idea to invest my money into property, which is what I did. I went through a series of buying probably just before the last recession, and bought some very poor deals, which as a novice I didn't know. I went up north and bought properties up there that were valueless. I've had to sell properties off at a loss. But basically I've got a core of portfolio now where most of my tenants, well, in fact, I've got two that are currently for sale, going through, and the rest are all good tenants who pay their rent and haven't defaulted through the crisis, which is more than I could have expected, really. But yes, it's been a rocky roller coaster ride, but I wouldn't have had it anyway. I've learnt a lot of lessons on the way.
Well, that's a very pragmatic view to take. I'm guessing that the landlord pain that you experienced perhaps encouraged you to adopt digital technology. And, you know, when you decided to start looking at digital tools for landlords like Lendlord, did you find it hard to shift across from that kind of analog way of doing things across to the digital way?
I didn't find it too hard because I did. I've had a property management system, which was based on my computer, which I've used for years. And it's only probably about 3 years ago I thought I really need to do something that's more useful, mostly in terms of the banking facilities, because I'm not very good with receipts and tracking my finances. And every year when it comes to tax purposes, there's a mad scramble, and I thought there's a better way of doing this. So I did subscribe to another platform, which was costing me quite a lot of money every month. And then I came across this and I tried it out, and I just thought, you know, it's the best thing. It's absolutely superb. So I've been using it. The system actually has just told me I've been using it for 161 days as of today.
Oh, that's wonderful. So you must have been one of our very early adopters.
Yes.
Now, when you started out, I'm guessing that, you know, the whole COVID thing was just unfolding. When you started out using the Lendlord system here in 2021, obviously it's become a lot clearer of the impact that COVID-19 and the ensuing lockdowns have had on the private rented sector. Do you kind of feel that these digital tools help landlords mitigate risk, particularly bearing in mind that I'm sure you'll agree with me that risks are massively amplified now? Yeah.
Sure. What I did at the back end of last year, because I have now a clear view of my portfolio and how much it's worth and everything else, what struck me is that I wasn't buying properties. I haven't bought any properties since 2010, but I believe that there is going to be a slump in the market, and what the digital platform has enabled me to do at the end of last year is to refinance some of my properties where I had a lot of equity sitting there, so that I'm now in a position to, when the market crashes, which I don't believe as yet, but I'll be in a position to buy properties, and I'm in a position to buy them cash.
Well,
So
that's an incredible testimony to the software and how it identifies capital raising opportunities that perhaps you weren't aware of. And I think in the current environment that landlords find themselves in, cash is definitely king. Even if you're just sitting on a cash buffer, it can certainly give you peace of mind. It can protect you against rental arrears and voids. And as you say, you've got cash sitting there that if you do see what you discover to be a bargain, no doubt using the Lendlord deal analyzing software, you can jump on it and be a very attractive proposition to a motivated seller.
Yes. And that there's no way that I would really have come to that realization without the software. It's just opened up my eyes in so many ways.
Fantastic. What would you say is your daily kind of, or just basically your routine with the Lendlord software? Do you use it every day? Are you constantly tweaking it? How do you interact with it?
I don't use it every day because my portfolio is not that huge. Mm-hmm. I probably once a month or once every 2 weeks, I will go into it and I'll spend inputting information it doesn't take me very long. Mm-hmm. Tracking my tenants' rents is something that I do at least fortnightly. Putting in receipts, that, as I say, that's where I'm traditionally I've not been very good, but now I upload them onto my computer, or I scan them into my computer and then upload them onto Landlord. And it means I can get rid of all the files that are in the mirrored cabinets behind me. One day I will be able to empty them all because I don't need all that paperwork anymore.
I think you've hit on such an important thing about working in the cloud, that you don't need to have all these physical pieces of paper. It's good to keep them for a number of years just in case. Yes. But ultimately everything can be stored in the cloud, and you can access it literally wherever you are in the world, as long as you've got a smart device and an internet connection.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it, because I am now semi-retired, and once COVID unlocks, which hopefully things will be safer, and we start getting back to travelling again this summer, then I want to be travelling, and I can still manage everything with my phone.
Fantastic.
I don't even need to take my laptop with me anymore.
Well, I think you've just beautifully highlighted many of the benefits of being a digital landlord. You can literally carry your portfolio in your pocket in your smartphone. And it's interesting, Pauline, because myself and Nick and most of the people watching this interview will have got into property to be able to adopt a certain lifestyle. Many of us love traveling, the great outdoors, etc. And it's lovely to hear that this is kind of facilitating you doing that and being able to travel but still keep control of your portfolio.
Yes, yeah. It's a marvelous tool, because previously when I've travelled, I usually don't travel for more than a week, 10 days, because I think, well, I have to get back to keep on top of things. Now it doesn't matter, because as long as I've got my phone, I've got all the information I need. I can make the phone calls to the relevant tradespeople or whoever, and I have a trusty team that I know will get on and do whatever needs doing.
Indeed. We're in the early part of 2021, Pauline, and we've got many newcomers coming to the Property Tribes platform, and indeed the Lendlord platform, because I think a lot of people, over the new year, they take time to reflect on, where they are in their life. And many people take the new year to try and improve their lot in life. And many people, every year we see it on Property Tribes, return to property investment as a possible way to achieve a lifestyle or a financial goal or whatever it might be, legacy for your children, a pension, whatever it might be. And this is a very good time to talk to newcomer landlords with tips for the future. Or tips to get started. And I just wondered if you had any for any of the newcomer landlords watching today.
I would say that if they're going to use Lendlord, to be patient, enter as much information about each property as you can as you get it. Because one of the things that I have been very bad at is entering or keeping record of fees like the solicitor's fees, the conveyancing fees, all those additional fees that you're actually paying out when you purchase a property. I'm sure that over the years I have lost a lot of money because I haven't kept track of some of those fees that I should have kept track of. So I would say probably my advice would be to track everything and put it into the system as you go along, because it is a difficult job to do when you have to go backwards and try and find all that information. Once you've got it, and it's captured on the platform, and it makes your life so much easier.
That's such a good point, Pauline, because when I started out as a landlord in 2004, they didn't have these digital tools. And everything was done on spreadsheets and bits of paper and post-it notes. And, now I think that newcomer landlords actually have quite a significant advantage because they can jump straight to these digital tools, start with them from day one. And as you say, it really is better to do it little and often as you go along rather than, develop a large portfolio and then have to go back and kind of input all that kind of back data. So I think that's a very good tip indeed. So thank you for sharing that. I think that's a great one. So going forwards, Pauline, what would you say to any landlord that's watching this that is kind of, wedded to their spreadsheets and their files and, has an office full of folders? What would you say to them to encourage them to make the jump to digital tools? Because there's so many great tools out there for landlords. Lendlord is the one we're obviously highlighting through this set of interviews, but we want to encourage landlords to take advantage of all the wonderful digital tools out there. What advice would you say to them to try and make that jump?
Depending on the amount of time that they've got. I mean, when I started on Lendlord 161 days ago, as I say, it was quite easy because it was just developing. So I was inputting information as the system developed, which made it easier. I think for landlords now, I would say, as I said, put it in as you go along. It will make your life so much easier. So if you've got a big portfolio, just decide on, each week I'm going to input the information for one of my properties and next week for another property. And eventually you will be able to get rid of all those spreadsheets and files that are just taking up space in your home or in your office. So I guess that would be my advice.
Well, that's fantastic. And thank you so much for being an advocate of Lendlord and digital tools, Pauline, and for joining us on this Zoom call. And I'm really going to look forward on your behalf and live vicariously through you when you go on your travels this summer. And I wish you every success with your portfolios portfolio as well through 2021 and beyond. I guess you're going to keep the faith with property investment going forwards.
Yes, I mean, I had thought that I wasn't going to buy any more properties as I thought, but I just see that in the next few months, I think there's going to be opportunities coming. So I've positioned myself in a way to take advantage of those opportunities. So yes.
Well, very, very smart lady. And that's what this is all about, being smart through the use of digital tools. And those opportunities coming up, of course, there is the Landlord Deal Analyzer, which will help you even more to identify those deals and crunch the numbers. Well, thanks ever so much, Pauline, for joining us.
Lovely talking to you. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.